Um, I'm on the Human Rights Commission, and we had some students come in January, a few months ago, before the play, like I guess you were starting rehearsals. And they mentioned that they might be rewriting certain portions. They've done that in other communities. And I was just wondering why that wasn't pursued more. Could have avoided a lot of it.
Yeah, we did. We looked into certain options. We talked to some other schools that were doing it in the area. And it was hard, like, to try to find a solution to that. But what dictated in the end is that we're bound by a license agreement that we signed with Music Theater International, where you're not allowed to change anything. And I know people do it.
How did they do it? I mean, it's been on the news.
There's been shows in the area that have been shut down, like days before they open.
Maybe that's what should have happened. Maybe that's what should have happened, huh?
That's right. So you can't change the content.
Because somebody else was going to sue you, right? Because you're afraid that you're going to have a contractual breach and somebody's going to sue you. And instead, what happens? You have offended me, you have offended her, you have offended everybody in here. You had a teaching moment for how many nights that you performed? You think that disclaimer is going to be good enough? No. For all this talk about, you know, let's do an anti-bullying curriculum, what have you just committed? You have bullied a whole community just like that. I'm sorry that I can't speak a Ching Chong Chinaman and do the Chinatown Chinaman walk for you. Maybe that's what you're more familiar with. But my son here, he represents the 6th generation here in the United States. Were we represented there by that public tax dollar? To me, that was a breach of Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. You use federal dollars, and you use it in a derogatory, racially derogatory manner against me, against everybody in here. And all we got was a little disclaimer. I have so much more to say, but I'm just afraid that my anger, yeah, do you feel that? You feel that anger? I'm glad. Okay? Why? Because I want that thing to be burning into all of your minds for the future as to what roles, what parts you choose. The rule of thumb is not that somebody else outside is going to be suing. The rule of thumb ought to be the family in here. Who is going to be offended? And it's not just about putting out entertainment, artistic value trumping the racial integrity, the sensitivity. Oh yeah, you Asians, you're too sensitive about this. Can't you share some comedy, some levity? But why is it always at our expense?
Why don't you speak up, sir? Obviously you don't agree with them.
I don't agree with you.
Why don't you speak up then?
Why it's because you're not the victim here.
If you look at theater across the board,
here we go.
if you look at theater across the
Art always trumps racism.
Well, I think that he said something, let that gentleman say something. I like to hear his perspective.
I think Newton's a fairly intelligent community, and I think if you look at theater across the board, and I could name many shows, virtually any Mel Brooks shows, Book of Mormon, Will and Grace on TV, you know, they're using certain things to make comedy that, you know, people, I would hope, are intelligent enough to see past that. You know, and I don't agree. It's not always Asians. It's not, you know, there's many things like that, and I don't agree with you. I mean, that's just not the case.